Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
First, let me present myself. I am Andrea Nastevo, and I'm from the In the Palace International Short Film Festival crew. And we're beginning this Q&A session with the two animation movies. Can you please present yourselves?
Hi, I'm Claudio, and I made the short film Il Formaggio that is in competition here in the Palace. Hi.
So, what about you?
I'm Tanja Brzakovic. I'm a co-director of the film Lupus in Fabula, together with Vuk Paliberg from Serbia.
So let me start by asking you some
Yeah.
questions about your movie. It's a short. I would say how would you describe the choice of music? Because this is the first thing we see.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty unique thing. I think I call animated opera. The unique thing of this process to this is that we start with an original opera that are singed and composed for the animation, and after that I do the film. So I build all the scenario
Around the music.
Starting by the music
And maybe
That's it.
in most cases it's actually the opposite. But how did you decide to do this?
Sometimes it's the opposite, but in this occasion I start with the music done for animation, and I animated on it. So it was a beautiful thing, you know. I like to work in this way. Yeah.
But would you say that the music was kind of your inspiration to build this film around it, maybe?
Yeah. The idea for this start by the musician David Boldrini that composed the music and write the libretto and the story. And he came to me and asked me to make the film on his story, and so I start to build all the stuff to do the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because we see two mice in the car chasing each other, you
Yeah.
know, this is a already seen story, but in your perspective is a very unique point of view.
Yeah.
How did you come up with it?
Yeah, it was difficult to match the timing of the opera, so the time of the music with the timing of the animation, and I try to match it, playing with the direction and find some way to represent the feeling of the music in the animation and in the film itself. Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of different explanations of what the two mice and the cat represent, but for you, especially, what they are symbol of what? What's your message?
Yeah, the story speak about the thing that sometimes we have fear about something we want to arrive, and the two mice in this case, after losing a slice of cheese that are grabbed by another mouse, they found that they discovered the moon, and the moon seems a big cheese, no? So they start dreaming about this thing and find that love can feed them in some way. Yeah.
So in the end, love is what we need as humans.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yeah.
And maybe their dreams, their inspirations.
Yeah. is what we need to survive in some way. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing.
Thank you.
And what about next projects with animation?
I'm trying to. I will pitch the project because the idea is to create a trilogy. Now I made Il Formaggio, and the trilogy that we want to make is panino, that in English is sandwich. So bread and ham is other two opera made for animation that will compose together this sandwich, imaginary sandwich, that speak about other things like the bread will speak about something like community, and ham is for the how can I say for the heart, no? That humans are destroying the heart, so
Destroying?
I can say it in English. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
For the for the heart, no?
For the heart.
No, heart.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The planet. Heart.
Yes.
Yeah. To save the planet. Yeah.
So
This is the-
we wish you luck at pitching.
Thank you.
Thank you. And can we continue with your movie Lupus in Fabula?
Yes.
So let's first of all see the trailer. Okay, so we'll just continue with naturally with our discussion about. Can you please tell me more about your idea?
Well, I started to work with Vuk, who is the animator, on a documentary project Life of a Mat, where the main character was a dog, as he is also in this dog wolf. So we started working there together, and then we decided to continue to have this character because it's a great metaphor for the human beings at all. And then I wrote a story, and he was giving me ideas visually, how the characters we developed together, the situations. And after that, I wrote the text from the narrator. Based on a children's story from the famous Serbian author Duško Radović. So it was a kind of work in development, it was not fixed. So this is the project, and this will be from the start until the end. So, but it developed during the animation and working on it for almost a year. But slowly, not not under pressure, but giving it time to work and to grow.
So you said the wolf represents the human beings.
Yes, I think so.
What characters of the human being does the wolf represent, and on the other side the dog?
Well, for me, we are, as humans, are different characters. We are all a species, one species, but we are different characters. And for me, in this story, this is a dog, as we humans are nowadays very afraid of reality that we live here. We have a lot of fears, so we try to make a compromises. We make a compromise with almost everything that we do in life. And the wolf and the human should learn that by trying to solve these fears, he loses his freedom. So it's actually, you know, you try to lose this wildness, this freedom from your life, becoming a dog. I love dogs, but in this case, the dog is somebody who is not treated nice by the society. And the society is the world we are living in, so he has to break free, actually, to find out that it's better to be a wolf, you know, to be free than to be a slave of your fears.
Yes, because the dog is also fed, safe. But this box we're living in, you're trying to say that we have to get out of the box in order to live properly,
exactly,
and truly. Okay, what about this children's story? Was this your main inspiration?
Well, I remember that after we finished the animation, everything almost, I remember this story because it's a story about a lion, a lion, but it's a scared lion, and that's why I found this rhyme, because the story is also like it repeats the rhyme from it's a story song in a way. So that's why the voice is also like a story, but also like a song. So that was the inspiration. It was not by the subject itself, just that there was a afraid lion that thinks that he is big, but actually he is very small in this children's room, a play, a toy.
His fear makes him small.
Yes.
Would you say most people today are dogs or lions or wolves?
I think dogs, but hurt dogs.
Why hurt?
Well, I think because the society, the humans are not treating each other very nicely. I think, I mean, it's maybe too pessimistic, but I think that's the reality I live in, and I see. I think that we are not happy dogs. We are sad dogs, hurt dogs.
Do you think it's only the younger generations, or it's from the beginning of time?
Well, you mean I'm not the younger generation, so it also counts with me. But you mean I think that in the modern society we even lose more freedom. I don't know. I didn't live in the times before. I know only from the history. But I have a feeling that we think that we are very free, but actually I think that we are very afraid and do things in our lives that are not the best possible way to be ourselves.
So to be ourselves is our way to break free?
Yes, exactly.
Only this, or?
I think that's the most important thing, yes.
So what about...
To be authentic, to be who you are.
Yeah. So
even if you are afraid, it's okay to be afraid. I don't have a problem with being afraid, but you know, fight with it and don't make compromises.
And what about the future?
For me or for dogs?
Both.
Well, it's unfortunately...
Do you still have this pessimistic view for the future too?
At this moment, yes, but I hope we can do something as, you know, community, even with our films, to make it better. I don't know. I'm not that pessimistic that I think that everything is going to be, you know, we are disappearing, but I think that we have to find the courage to make it better, because at this moment it doesn't look nice.
Okay, but you said a person has to be themselves in order to be free. How can we help each other be themselves, or is it mostly a personal individual thing, or it's how did you say community?
No, I think it's the biggest issue in this society today is solidarity. If we support each other, if I go and say, okay, Claudia, I want to see your film, and I think it's a great film, and I show it, give it further, you know, then it's a way of making the joint strengths of our. And I think that's the only way, only to be solidar with each other. That's, as an individual, it's fine to be with yourself, but you need another human being. You need a group. You need a pack as a wolves. Why they are so strong? Because they stay in the pack.
They stay together.
Yes.
Perfect note to end this discussion. If anyone from the audience has any questions, they're welcome. And if not, thank you so much for this Q&A session. It
Thank
was
you.
a pleasure,
Thank you so much.
really.
Hello everyone, this is Cassandra from the team of the 20th edition of In the Palace International Short Film Festival. Today I'm glad of introducing you to Malika Rezapour, who is representing the film The One Way Ticket, who's taking part in the student competition section fiction. And this is the story narrated from the point of view of a 6-year-old boy who's been raised by a misogynist father, and one day he finds out that her sister wants to escape with his lover. Before starting the conversation, let's watch the trailer.
چرا منو عصبانی میکنی بابا جون؟ ها؟ چرا میخوای حرف مردم بشیم؟
من میرم لیلا، میکشنت.
تو معلوم هست کجایی؟
سیخون به پا میکنه، من دیگه نمیتونم جلوشو بگیرم.
آزاده کن.
بابا صبر کن. بابا. موبیلی تو بنداز تو راساده.
Hello Malika, thank you for
Hi.
being here and joining this Q&A. And first of all, I'd like to ask you why you decided to tell this story from the point of view of a little kid.
Yeah, so basically the whole point was that I really wanted to talk about honor killing because of some stories that were going on in Iran. But the main reason that we decided to tell the story from a perspective of a child, which is a male child, was that I wanted to show that in our societies, especially in the Middle East, because I'm Iranian and the film is shot also in Iran, I wanted to show that the young generation of male people are being raised in a society that has a huge impact on them. And I didn't want to have any judgment, and I didn't want to judge everything. I just wanted to show how a child is being raised and what are the chances that he becomes a misogynist in the end, a sexist person, or how possible that is for a male being raised in Iran to become a feminist or a person who supports women's rights, basically.
In fact, at the end, it seems that he consciously decides to escape himself.
Actually, no. The ending is that he starts to chase his sister, and he wants to follow her because in the end he wants also to escape. Exactly, he's leaving the house, but not in the sense that he's escaping, but in the sense that he's following his sister because that's the actual decision that he made in the end. Yeah.
He's taking distance, let's say, from the perspective of his own father, and we show it physically to show a detachment that it's more like mentality.
Sorry, could you please?
It's a detachment that is more like mentality, but
exactly.
we are showing that in a physical way.
Yes, yeah.
And also, you show some. You have some point in common, of course, with the main character because you also are from the Tehran, and you moved to Berlin after that. And I wanted to ask you about your experience.
Actually, I didn't move to Berlin after my film, so it's been 6 years that I'm living in Germany. But I shot the film in Iran because that's the story of that people, of those people, and I wanted to shoot the film in the location and to tell the story of the people who are living there. So that's why I decided to shoot the film in Iran. But in Iran, we have tons of restrictions because of our government. So what I did was that I made a fake script because you cannot just start shooting in Iran. You have to get a permission. So I wanted to do that. So I had to make a script, a fake one, and then shoot something else. And then I came back to Germany. So I didn't leave the country after my film, but I was living before in Germany. But yeah, they still don't know. I hope so. But let's see if they figure out someday.
And what about the character of the father? How did you wrote him? Because yes, of course, we see that he's a misogynist, but he's not like inherently evil because somehow
Exactly.
he loves her child and he feels sorry for what is going on, but he's not able to take distance from this mentality.
Exactly. So basically, I'm an actor, and we are always told that people are not black and white. People are living in different worlds. I do have tons of negative aspects in my character, and also I do tons of good stuff, you know? So exactly, that's the point. And people are, those people who do that stuff, they are basically uneducated and they are not mean necessarily. So the actually point of view that he has towards his life is that I love my daughter and I want to protect her because people are talking about her and I don't want that. So I want to protect my child and I love her so much, that's why I want to kill her. And in the end, we see that still, although he wants to kill his own daughter, he lets her escape. Yeah.
And let's talk about a little bit about the technical aspect of direction.
Yeah.
It is said that it's very difficult to direct a child actor.
Very difficult.
Tell us more about this.
Yeah, it was so hard because I was lucky because my actors, they were all super professional. Even the kid, like, he had tons of acting experience, so it was not something that he had to, like, get used to. But it is tiring. We were, like, shooting 10, 11 hours, and it's, like, so tiring. So there were moments that he wanted his mom, he started crying, and I tried, like, to stay friends with him, but on the other hand, you have to be strict with kids. So it was quite a process, and he added 1 day to our shooting days, so a lot of money. But in the end, he made it, and I'm so proud of him.
Finally, the result was worth the time.
Of course, yeah.
And also, when we asked you to send a bio, you said you said a statement that basically you want to make change by art, by storytelling.
Exactly.
Just let's go deep into that.
Exactly. So as I said, I decided, like, to tell this story because of the news that that we were hearing in Iran about honor killing. So we heard about 3-4 women who were, like, killed either by their fathers or their husbands or something like that. And no one outside of Iran was actually talking about it. Imagine that happens in Germany or somewhere in Europe. The world will shake, you know? This didn't happen in Iran. And yeah, exactly, I told you I want to change the world as far as I can by the art of storytelling. So if someone who has that mentality someday watches my film, maybe something triggers in them and they don't make the decision anymore, you know? Of course, watching a film cannot change tons of stuff, but in the end, I decided not to kill the girl and let her escape because maybe someone out there will see that and change his decision, you know?
Of course, because we also need a little bit of hope. I mean, the
Exactly.
tragic stories, we hear them every day, so at least we need to believe that something good is still possible.
Exactly, yeah.
And also, as artists, do you feel to have some, let's say, a sort of responsibility in, educating, let's say,
Of course.
people?
Yeah, of course. And I come from a country which is, which really needs help, especially from outside. And people are trapped in a country that they cannot do something for themselves because of the dictatorship there. So, yeah, we artists, if I am allowed to consider myself as an artist, we have to do something for our culture because the educational system or the governments, they are not doing that. So people have to learn them from us. You know, we have to tell them what to do. That's not the best sentence, but anyways, we have to teach them the right things because art is a language that cannot be censored or filtered, no matter how hard the government tries. Yeah.
It is true when there was that sentence, I think it was Dostoevsky when he said beauty will save the world. If we can relate that to art,
Yeah.
art is a form of beauty, and so of course you can change the
Yeah.
world.
Hopefully, let's see.
Let's hope. And would you like to tell us more about your background, about your film studies? How did you approach them? How did you decide actually to become a film director?
Yeah, so basically, I'm an actor and I'm studying acting. And all what I learned was from me being on set and working with directors. But in the end, like as an actor, you do not get to, especially in the beginning, you do not get to choose the best roles that you want to play. So the roles that I was offered, they were like, I don't want to do that, but I'm doing it because I have to start from somewhere. So that's why I decided like to writing the character that I would love to play and the things that actually matters to me. So I started writing the script and I was like, okay, who's gonna direct that? I'm gonna do it. And I also produced it and I also acted in it. So I wanted to make it mine so that I can tell my message in different ways, from the actor's perspective, from the director's perspective, writer's perspective, producer's perspective. So yeah, I wanted to give it a chance.
How it is difficult to direct yourself.
That was damn easy. Like, you
Really?
do whatever you want to do. Everything is perfect. No one is going to judge you. but yeah, like, from the director's perspective, that was easy because I was okay with what I was doing. But in terms of other people judging you, because, like, you're doing everything, and I'm a beginner. So, yeah, that was a little bit tricky because you cannot satisfy everyone, especially on set. As a woman in Iran, if you're young, but we managed to do it anyways.
And are you working at some new projects right now?
Yes. I'm working on my second short, and I'm pitching for it tomorrow. So
Great, good luck.
thank you. So the plan is that I wanna shoot it in August, but let's see. And it's gonna be about childhood traumas, and my main lead is gonna be a child again. I promise never working with a child ever again because it's so hard. But we're doing it, and she's British, and she's so cute. So I'm really looking forward to work with her. But yeah, let's see.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Okay, so thank you a lot for this conversation. It was really
Thanks for
interesting
having me.
talking to you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure, and good luck for your next project.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm Cassandra from the team of the 20th edition of In the Palace International Short Film Festival, and right now I'm here with the crew of the film Unfamiliars, who is taking part in the student competition category fiction. This film is a human drama about a mother with an obsession with documenting the apartment of his son who was dead, and now let's watch the trailer.
Ära puuduta midagi.
Kas näen natuke enda ema moodi väljas?
Big group today. We are here with Lauri Estela, who was the director, Linda is a leading actress, and Nedena, which was from the crew of the production team. Thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure to have you here to talk about your film. And first of all, I'd like to ask you, Lauri, how did you work with Chin Van Traki, who was the co-writer for the script of this story?
Well, it started like collaboration. We were working like from the very beginning, like ideas, like drawing, like brainstorming ideas with her, and then we came up with this one idea, which is very remotely based on some real events, which has happened years ago, and then that resonated somehow with Chin, and she got interested and started writing based on that, and then it expanded and lived its own life. So basically, it was a collaboration, but mainly thanks to this Chin, who's very good writer, and she did great work.
And did you have in mind any specific visual reference while you were shooting?
Yeah, we have had references. It was mix of different films and different visuals, and especially with Jai Lee, who's the cinematographer of the film, and she's super talented. And we kind of in the same way brainstormed with her and came up with the visual style of this. Like it's a film in just one space in this one apartment, so it was a bit challenge to make it work, and then finding the right location with the help of Nevena, of course. And but yeah, it was a bit challenge to kind of fit all the scenes and everything in this one small space, and that was kind of the main idea of the film anyway, to challenge ourselves with the visual style of that.
Let's dive a little bit more into that. What were the hardest challenges you had to face, for example, as a producer in this project?
Lauri was kind enough to come up with a story in one location, so that was definitely not the challenge. We had a very talented team of production designers that completely transformed this place. Shout out to Sigrid Jubupo and Marto Magi from Estonia. They were nominated actually for Best Production Design for this film, along with Jai Lee for Best Cinematography. I would say because it's such a character-driven story, we were very lucky. Lauri casted Linda along with Anne Vesar, a popular Estonian actress, and Simeoni Sunja, the three to really come into the skin of our characters. I'd say his work with the actors was the most impressive on this project.
Yeah, and about that, how did you work on? How was your work on the character?
We met with Laurie and then we read the script and then we had also possibility to just talk about the characters more deeply, and on set there was still possible to make some changes, or like for me maybe my character line didn't end maybe where it was in the script, so yeah, like it was good collaboration in that sense that it was possible to shoot maybe a few more shots to complete my thought of my character, like how it should end. Yeah, with what, like.
Yeah, I think we tried to build kind of like the characters with the actors as well,
Yeah.
kind of like during the rehearsal period, basically.
Yeah.
That it wasn't like a fixed that these
Yes.
characters are like this, and we just tried to come up with what feels most comfortable and what feels what resonates with each actor, basically, with the character. So.
Yeah, because when we were shooting, then is when the characters come live actually, like also what situation is on that day and how my co-actors are doing this today. So it had to be quite of free in that sense.
Yeah.
And how would you describe the relationship between the characters? They have many secrets between them, so it's a very difficult relationship.
Yeah, after all, it's a film about this film, like a family gathering, and kind of like all the characters are hypocritical in a way, like they're not like honest, like, and it's all about this kind of like tension between all the characters, and yeah, I think it was interesting to try to find the connections and kind of like reconstruct this character who is not present there, who's this deceased brother of Linda's character, and how they are all connected to this one guy who is not there anymore, basically. So that's kind of like the yeah, there.
And how did you all decide to pursue this career?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, it was in the Palace 11th edition, that's like 9 years ago, which was my first contact with the film industry as such. It was still taking place by the seaside. And Zanko and the team really made me so excited about the opportunity to be in film. So I could trace back my filmmaking roots back to this festival.
It's an honor.
Yes, it is. It is wonderful to come back with a film here and with these wonderful people that we collaborate with.
Sure. Oh, that's really great to hear. And what about you guys?
I wanted to be an actress when I was 80 years old, so it was really a dream come true when I was accepted to the theater school. And yeah, now I live in Berlin. I work there as an actress, although I'm from Estonia. And yeah, I still feel very like to explore more of what's there in this job. Yeah, it's very fulfilling. Like emotion.
You had the idea pretty clear, so you had your idea pretty clear when you were young.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you?
Well, I actually started as a graphic designer back in the days when I was like 20s something, and then slowly moved more to this audiovisual film stuff, and then I started working as a cinematographer, editor, and maybe past 4 or 5 years more into directing stuff. So that's in a short form this history.
And what can you tell us about how it is filmmaking in your country?
Well,
it's a very unique film that we have here in the competition, because actually today is exactly 1 year since we all graduated from our master's program, and this is our graduation film, so it's even a very special day for all of us. Shout out to our editor Hassan and to our sound designer Sangam, who are also a key part of our team. So the idea of the Kino Eyes Master's degree is to have people from all over the world making films together. So this is a unique example of how creatives from different backgrounds come together regardless of where they come from. So I take the opportunity to...
It's a good way of reaching each other and make a project even more interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we are looking for ways to continue working together still, although we come from completely different countries.
Are you already planning a new project together?
We have some ideas, and now being here actually, I think Lauri is inspired.
Yeah, for sure.
Good to hear.
Yeah. But yeah, was it a question like about the home country filmmaking? Well, I think in Finland it's expanding a lot. Like there's lots of co-productions going on, and it's going well over there. And I think it's getting more and more name in the world, I guess, in the film industry. I hope so, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, in Estonia, I feel there's so much talent, although we are such a small country. And the films always are very, very professional. The set is very professional, and but just there's not enough money to so that everybody could have a shot and do the movies. So this is the issue there, because there could be much more. And people could make more mistakes and learn, but because of this lack of funding, yeah, it's in a so it's just goes slower because of that. Yeah.
Well, still, I feel that Estonia is a wonderful place to start, even for a foreigner.
Yeah.
Definitely, there is room, way more room than there is in the neighboring Baltic countries. That I feel that Estonia is doing best out of Latvia, Lithuania, just in terms of scope and scale and budgets. Even compared to Bulgaria, I'm originally from Bulgaria. Still, Estonia has quite good budgets. And here as well, there is so much talent, and I would only echo what you were saying, that we're hoping to have more and more chances to make films.
So, do we have any question from the audience? No? No?
That's for us.
No? Great. Okay, thank you a lot for being here. It was a really interesting conversation, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Cassandra from the team of the 20th edition of In the Palace International Short Film Festival. Right now I'm here with Danilo Stanimirovic, who is the director of the film 530, who is taking part in the student competition in the category fiction. This is a story about a young girl who is trying to move outside the city, and she meets a quite menacing taxi driver. So, thank you first for being here and joining this conversation.
Thank you for inviting.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. The first thing I want to ask you is it's about the writing process that you had with the co-writer Marina Paredzanovic. How did you work together with her, and how did you put your ideas together?
Well, the truth is that there was no an actual script. So I had a story and some kind of a storyline. And since I like to work with non-professional actors, nobody knew what's the story actually. So only the main actress, Dostana, I was very close with her, and she was studying the acting at that moment. And yeah, she knew what's the story, and for each scene, what is the function of the scene and what is our goal. So she kind of led other non-professional actors, and the taxi driver is my father, then there is my uncle, my teacher from elementary school, and yeah, she's the only professional. So we kind of played all the time, and the whole film is actually some big improvisation.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Yes,
and
yes.
What is the main challenge you face as a director when you have to direct some non-professional actors?
Well, the main challenge is you're not never sure what you can get from them 100%, but that's the most important is that you the best is if you're close with them. So that's why I bring my father, my uncle, and people I know. So I put them in, I know what I can get from them. So for example, I know my father, he's very nice guy and he likes to talk with everyone, and but then the film is very disturbing in a way, and he's acting a malevolent and very kind of creepy taxi driver. But when you put him, then I created a context which is a bit disturbing, and then this kind of over niceness of him became totally different in another context. Yeah.
And what can you tell us about the character of the girl? Actually, how did you write her, and also how can we interpret the last scene? Because actually we know that something wrong is going on, but we don't see anything. But we have the feeling that something wrong is about to happen.
So the idea for the film came when I met, after a few years, a friend from elementary school, from my childhood, and she told me this story from when she was 13 years old, about this rape attempt from a taxi driver, and I was shocked. And I was shocked that at that time nobody of us knew about what happened. And then she's telling me years after this, and then from that came the idea for the story. And then I talked with Dostana, who is the actress, and actually she told me that she had a similar experience. So that's why we say it's based on true events, even though maybe they were not similar, but maybe even right now some girl is experiencing similar experience. And then the editor, she is also female, and she said also she had a similar experience with the taxi driver, where it was not a rape, so that there was no rape at the end, but that's why I wanted to leave it the open ending, because the point is this position, and maybe I wanted to leave it open and not just to spoke about the act itself.
Yeah, in fact, it's a pretty common experience, and it's something that can make you also feel alone. In fact, even the character of the girl, we can see a lot of loneliness around her, because of course there is the character of the taxi driver, which is creepy, but also when she arrives at the party, we can feel that she is not safe there. Even her own boyfriend is not a safe person for her.
Yeah, well, that part is a bit imagined. She was going, my friend, she was going to the party, and I know she had a bit older boyfriends at that time. So yeah, this was more my fictionalized story, and I wanted to speak through that middle part about sexual education, and but how boys are non-sexually educated, and to experience, also to talk about male gaze, and yeah.
And Also about that, as we talked before, do you think that maybe an artist you can have a role like in educating people and in changing maybe society for the better?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the cinema is a very powerful tool, and we all, I mean, the general audience, I mean, all of us, we are making our system of values or whatever through cinema, through film language, through TV shows, through what films, much more than from what we read. We make our system of values to what we are watching, and that's why I think it's like really important how we are, in what way we are communicating what we think are like some general values of the humankind.
And about more filmmaking in specific, do you have some recurring themes or features that you want to dive into more in your projects?
You mean for the future projects?
Even that?
Yeah, well, now I'm working on many stuff. Actually, right here tomorrow we are pitching the new short film. It's like finally I'm making something. It's going to be a feel-good movie because I had too many, especially with these ones, because everything about this film was tragical. And now I'm making like a comedy musical.
That's pretty different.
Yes, and I'm working on short documentary, and I'm finishing my diploma film, which is in editing.
Yeah, and what can you tell us about filmmaking in Serbia in specific?
Filmmaking in Serbia, you mean?
Country.
Well, it's developing, and I think it's like one of the parts of the industry that is actually like really in development. So there is like a lot of TV shows shooting and a lot of places where you can work. But it's hard if you want to make only to direct and only to make your own films. That's my goal. I would really like to have only my projects, but also I'm teaching and I'm working at faculty at film school in Belgrade. So yeah, I think this balance and like to have to teach, and then that's perfect combination. You know.
And do we have any question from the audience? No? Okay. Thank you a lot for joining this conversation. It was a pleasure to have you here, and of course, good luck for the pitching session.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Hello everyone, I'm Cassandra from the team of the 20th edition of In the Palace, and right now I'm here with Iker Maguregui, a film director from Spain, who is here to introducing us to the film Trumoyak, who is taking part in the student competition category fiction. This is the story about two brothers who are playing on a beach with some firecrackers, and all of a sudden they find a motorhome apparently abandoned and they decide to inspect it. So before starting the conversation, let's watch the trailer.
Venga, ondo jarri edo ez dira piztuko.
Ni badakit ziur putza ingo dizutela.
Norbait biziko da hemen? Hani...
Okay, so first of all, thank you a lot for being here and joining this Q&A.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So, other than directing your film, you also wrote the script. So I was wondering what was your writing process and what's your point of view about screenwriting a short film? Because, you know, there are many different way of thinking about that. There are some people that think you should plan everything, and some people say just let it drive and just go with the flow and let it... Yeah, what's your point of view?
So my point of view of screenwriting is more like based a lot of structure. I am a little bit like really obsessive with structure, and in this case I was a bit in a hurry to write the script because it was a work for my master degree final work. So I have to present the script really fast, and I didn't have any idea. So I'm based in my childhood with my brother, and a little bit based on my own experience and my quotes like in the beach when I was really young, and it's a little bit like a part of my life. And then I fiction some parts of the script to give it like interest and a little bit of suspense. But yeah, I suppose that's my type of work for the script.
And maybe so, you said that it's also based on some personal experience. Can you tell us more about the relationship between the brothers that we see in the film? You also said that basically being drawn to risks is the basis of their relationship. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, when I grew up, like my brother, my older brother was like the figure that I follow in all the steps. But at the same time, like he was so protective to me, so he didn't let me do a lot of things because he was like my parent in a way when I was in these situations, like playing with firecrackers, so it was a little bit dangerous. And I thought that all the people could relate in this love-hate relationship with your brother, or maybe it's a friend or someone that is in your life, and you have like a really intimate relationship with him, but at the same time you have really discussions and like that kind of relationship. So I thought that was interesting to show it in a movie.
And what about the choice of the locations?
So it was a bit difficult because at first we wanted to film in a beach that was near where I live. But it was protected because of the nature of it. It's really nice, but it was protected, so we have to record in two beaches. So one part in which we didn't use firecrackers, it's recorded in one beach, and then all the rest of the movie that happens like firecrackers and flying firecrackers and that, we had to record it in another beach because safety issues. So yeah.
And also, this is not your first film, actually. So can you tell us how did you mature since your first project until now?
So this is my second short film that I distribute in festivals. And I suppose that the first short film, I did it just with a lot of intuition, like what happened to me with just I take the keyboard and write whatever it was in my mind. But now that I study film and I analyze a lot of films and why they are appealing to me, I take those elements and I'm like more conscious of what I told in my films. So I suppose that's it. Yeah.
Is there a film in particular that made you fall in love with the idea of becoming a director?
Yeah, I always told the same film because when I was 12, I watched Seven for David Fincher, and I suppose that right now I love the film, but it's not it's my favorite film because it was the first one that for me was like, wow, this filmmaking is more than just one story because there are a lot of layers between, like characters, metaphors, why do you put the camera in the way you put it. So yeah, I suppose that was the first film that gave me the chance to become a filmmaker.
Are there any features or themes that you would like to explore more in the future in your next projects?
Yeah, because as I told you, like Trumoyak was a short film that I had to write pretty quickly. So I just have like 3 months to write the script, have the idea, write the script, and do the production. And right now I'm working in another type of projects that I can like develop more in the script writing process, because I love to have, like I say, a good structure in the movie. So that takes time. And right now I'm like really conscious of what I'm talking about and themes and metaphors and that kind of thing. So I'm trying to work in that.
How it is to be a filmmaker in Spain?
So I suppose Spain is a bit different in each city. I studied in Barcelona, so there are a lot of filmmakers working around, but it's so difficult to take a project and get the funds to do it. But where I live now, that is in Bilbao, in the Basque Country, right now they are recording a lot of series, a lot of movies, because the government is like pushing a lot filmmaking. So I think I'm in a really good position to tell stories, and right now there are a lot of interesting projects recording. So I'm really proud of Basque Country. Yeah.
And how do you work with the other members of the crew? You know, sometimes it can happen that there are some divergences or maybe different ideas, and how do you cope with that?
So I have like my confident team, and we all studied in the same university. We are like pretty young, I suppose, and I love to. I have the opportunity to work with people that have a lot of experience more than me, but I prefer to work with people that like grow up with me and maybe have things happen wrong, but it's a learning process. So I love to grow up with the same people, like the same DP, the same art director. So that's my mentality about it. Yeah.
So you have a close group. We are very close to each other as filmmakers.
Yeah, like my music composer studied with me the career also, and we played in the same music band. So it's like really close. Yeah.
Do we have any questions? No? Okay. Thank you a lot for being here, and good luck for all your next projects, and thank you for joining in the Palace.
Thank you for the festival and for the invitation.
Hello, I am Cassandra from the team of the 20th edition of In the Palace International Short Film Festival, and right now I have the pleasure of introducing you to Maya Wills, who took charge of the producing crew of the film on your behalf, production from UK, who is taking part in the student competition category fiction. What's this film about? So, do you know that feeling that you have when someone does a little thing that really annoys you, like staying on the zebra crossing without crossing actually, and then you start thinking that you really want to kill that person? It happens, but the main character of this film does it for real. So, let's watch the trailer.
You don't get it.
I have a morning routine. Without fail, every single fucking time.
You finished with sandwich, boss?
I know what you're trying to do here. But this isn't any different.
She's talking bollocks. It's a waste of our time.
Well, if it's worth nothing, then tell me. Tell me what happened.
You stare a lot. It's weird.
Hello, Maya. Thank you for being here and joining In the Palace, first of all.
Of course, thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure. And so, first thing first, how did you work together with the director, Ana Garcia Rico?
Me and Anna have worked together a few times in the past. So this is, each project got a little bit bigger. So this is the biggest thing we've done together. And we still work together regularly now. So we kind of got into a very easy rhythm, to be honest. And she's a really talented production designer as well. So we've worked together with her as a production designer and myself as a director, or me as a producer and her as a director. So we have quite a good shorthand and we work well together. We know what each other's strengths are and weaknesses, and we kind of fill those gaps quite easily. So it's always been a really good relationship, and it just sort of gets better, I think.
Can you tell us something about the casting process? Because, the actors, the leading actors are pretty good, especially the leading character. She's amazing. And how did you choose her?
So the lead, Ava, the character Ava, is played by Georgina Bevan, who is an amazing actor, and she's actually a friend of Anna's, and they've known each other for years, but she's also an actor. And when Anna wrote this script and when we were kind of developing, we kind of knew that this was a part for her. So that was a very easy casting choice, which happened early on. The rest of the casting, we had an amazing casting director involved, Sally Broom, who has done casting for all sorts of different things on TV, films, and she really helped us to kind of get the ins with the right people, and she helped kind of find what you don't always know what you're looking for, and with a casting director on board, it just makes everything so much easier. So she did a lot of the heavy lifting on that.
And what were the main challenges that you had to face as a producer in this specific film?
I mean, with these shorts, you can always say money, I suppose. It's always the biggest challenge for a producer. So yeah, I mean, dealing with the budget. There was also, we shot in a lot of it in a studio in London, and then all of the exteriors are done in the Lake District in the north of England. So there was a little bit of moving around, and also we kind of had COVID on our backs as well when we were filming, so that was another thing. We had to have sort of COVID supervised in every day, regular testing, making sure that was all really organized. But I mean, we had a really, really solid crew that made it really easy. So,
how did you decide, you personally, to become a producer?
I think I wanted to be involved in making films, and I always wanted to make films in some capacity, in some role. And I found that I've done some directing, and I really enjoy that, and I'll continue to do that. But producing plays into my strengths, I think, as well. It's I guess when you find out how much you love making a spreadsheet, it sort of it kind of helps. So and especially with the network that I have and creating relationships with directors like Anna, she's the sort of director who really allows you to be kind of creatively involved and kind of contribute. And so working in that way as a producer is I really enjoy that. So.
I make you maybe a weird question. So basically, the producer role is one of the leading points in making a film, and it can be a stressful role to be. And so I want to ask you, what are, in your opinion, the personal traits that can help you most for being a producer?
I always think that just having a really level head, and if you are stressed, don't let everyone know you're stressed. And just kind of roll with the punches, I guess. If something goes wrong, just don't stop and freak out about it. Just figure out a way to fix it and keep going. If you start showing everyone that you're stressed and letting that out and also taking it out on other people, then the whole thing falls apart, I think. So I think just being level-headed and letting everyone else get on with their job while you get on with yours, while also kind of working cohesively is probably the biggest thing for me personally. Yeah.
And do you know how this idea was born? Of this film in particular? How the crew decided to talk about this topic, basically about?
Yeah, it's well, Anna always says that in another life she might have been Ava, which is kind of the joke we have.
There is a little Eva, everyone was.
Exactly, and it's kind of. She was writing a short, and then the pandemic happened, and I know that kind of what she really wanted to do with the script is kind of do something a little bit lighthearted that can make us all laugh at ourselves and the sort of the things that we find annoying during times of normalcy at a time that it was really not normal at all. And everyone had all sorts of other outside stresses going on. They were sort of stuck at home. And sort of to be reminded of how silly some of the little things you find annoying and frustrating in kind of times of normal. It's kind of, funny, and it's lighthearted, and there's a lot of doom and gloom out, and sometimes it's nice to just have a little bit of a comedy that you can see yourself in. So I think that was her intention, really.
So a personal question: what is the thing that annoys you the most that potentially could turn you into a Eva?
Someone asked me this yesterday, actually, at the bar, so I'm prepared for this one. For me, it's like sniffing, like really loud sniffing. I just think you go and blow your nose or something, but that's my personal thing. Everyone has them though, I think. Yeah.
And what can you tell us about filmmaking in general from a producing point of view in UK?
It's a solid industry. There's a lot happening in the UK.
Is there something that is changing? It's developing more.
Yeah, I think we're at a time of shift in the industry in general. I think that with kind of more unions taking action and more people kind of saying that we're not going to do these inhumane working conditions and unsafe working conditions, the whole industry is shifting for the better. So, and I think that that's happening in the UK. We're kind of acknowledging that you can make stuff just as good in a 10-hour day rather than an 18-hour day, and which is kind of making it so more people can get into the industry. I hope that accessibility and diversity and things are improving. I know that people are pushing that in the UK, but it's always an uphill battle with these things. But I think there is a changing landscape. But in general, there's a lot of work in the UK. A lot of TV is being made, film as well, and it's, yeah.
Is there any project you are working on, any next project you're working at right now?
So myself and Anna, who's the writer-director, and Sam, who's a cinematographer of On Your Behalf as well, the three of us have a production company, and so at the moment we're developing our first feature. So we've all done a few shorts, and so we're working on a feature which is similar kind of style to On Your Behalf, that kind of slightly dark comedy, but a completely different story. And then aside from that, we're also we do some commercial stuff, we do music videos, we do kind of, you've got to do all those things on the side if your features take years, so yeah.
How to say, in UK you are a maestro in doing dark comedy.
Sorry?
In UK you really do amazing dark comedies. It's like a specialty.
We're all a little bit twisted, I guess. Yeah.
Do you have any question from the audience? No? Okay. Thank you a lot for joining this conversation and wish you all the best for your production company or your future project. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Hello, I'm Cassandra from the team of the 20th edition of In the Palace Short Film Festival. Right now I'm here with Sushant Bhatt, who is the director of the film How to Tame a Wild Elephant, who is taking part in the student competition category fiction. This is the story about a trumpetist whose sexuality is entwined with his ability to play. Very interesting idea. Now let's watch the trailer.
O som de um elefante é chamado de trompete. Um elefante trompeteia para demonstrar excitação, agressão ou angústia. Hello, Sushant. Thank you for being here in the first place. And so, basically, one of the most interesting things of this film is the parallelism between the trumpetist and the elephant. In fact, we also have, for all the first part of the film, also a voiceover which comments on the action from the point of view of a documentary about elephants, which comments the action of the main character. How did this idea came out?
Well, I was at that place in film school, you know, where you're constantly told a way of making films, and there is a textbook and there is a certain way, and I was kind of annoyed by it in a way. Not just that, but you know, repression
and society in general. And I come from a place in India where elephants are around and are taken care of by villages and by communities. And, you know, just clicked the idea of how education or training goes hand in hand, and how if you break it down, it is not very different as to how you would want any artist or any human being to be sort of conformed or to be trained into a box, and the way any animal, any wild animal or an elephant is also chained, trained and taught how to perform tricks for an audience.
So this is one of the aspects how your background influenced your filmmaking. Are there any other aspects?
Yeah, I mean, in that part of my life, I guess, I really wanted to push the boundaries of filmmaking in a way as a jazz band would, you know. Each aspect of it, like cinematography by Premjo, and I also co-wrote it with Tool, who's the editor of the film, the sound designer Mauricio, and all of us with our unique abilities, including the actors as well, Vicente and Adriano, with whom we workshopped for quite some time. So we wanted the film to sort of showcase everyone's brilliance and not the other way around. So we found a language in the pre-production that let the cinematographer, you know, have their solo, have the sound designer have their solo, and work in real locations with real actors, real extras, all of these things to sort of, including voiceovers and all of these things, to have as many ingredients as you can, like an Indian dish sort of, and try not to, you know, screw it up and hold it all together. And it was really rewarding as an experience, because that's the job of a director in a way. I don't ever have to hold a camera, I don't ever have to press record, I don't have to be on the edit table, be in front of the camera. My job is to talk to people. It's a lovely job, best job in the world. And while I'm talking to all of these collaborators on the way, I also want them to do the thing that they love doing, you know, and why they started making films. So, and I think it shows in the film that all of these different elements and, you know, like riverlets that go into film, different art forms, whether it be music, whether it be writing, whether it be cinematography, into this whole ocean of cinema that we get to see.
Everyone did their best because the film was great.
Thank you. I'm glad you think so.
And, sorry.
No worries.
So, music also plays an important role in this film, and the music we hear is the Waltzer from Shostakovich. Is there a particular reason why you choose this piece in particular?
Most importantly, for producers, it was copyright free, right? So it was easy to use. But the whole point of the film was that as the film progresses, we want the music to get annoying. If we were to use a piece of music that is original, it probably won't get annoying, claustrophobic, or, you know, like just cacophonous in your head. If you already know the piece of music somewhere, then the repetition will kind of, you know, for the audience, make it annoying, make it jarring, make it claustrophobic. So that was one of the major reasons. Also because it was used in, you know, Eyes Wide Shut, and it is somehow already related to this conformism. So that being the semiology as a foundation, it was good to build on and add different jazz tracks also to it.
And this film was also co-written by Tool Rodriguez.
Yes.
How it was working with him, and how did you put together your ideas?
She is my partner, and it was great because we were again like trying to find a language where we got to say something that was unique, and with this step-by-step guide, we came up with it together. You know, it was. I was talking about elephants and how they are, and how, you know, the concept of the film also of, you know, compressing this trumpetist urge to improvise and to just play music for joy, and how elephants are, and, you know, all of these things came together. So, and she's also the editor of the film, and it is great to have the editor co-write, because a lot of the fat gets trimmed early on, and what we had was concise, and we knew what we were shooting. As you can see, a lot of it was improvised, you know, a lot of it was scheduled to be improvised, like we would make the class just happen and the rehearsals just happen and shoot from certain places. So it was good to know the voiceovers and to know which beats need what kind of moments that we need to capture, and also some places where we just wanted it to be blissful and joyful and like a montage for that. So all of these things that usually maybe one would write down precisely in a screenplay, we got the option to kind of let it free. Certain parts were scripted, like, you know, precisely. Certain parts we knew we wanted to be more jazzy on set. Yeah.
And let's dive into the theme of sexuality that we can find in this film. Basically, at a certain point, the main character is basically taken over by his own sexuality, and this influenced also his way of playing music. And in fact, he's completely unable to perform the way he would like. How so? How can you explain this?
Well, sexuality as a form of love and expression, and he is someone, in the first scene it starts with him playing the trumpet and also touching himself. So it was the expression of an artist, you know, love and sexuality being linked, and his ability to not love himself, you know, or when he loses this individuality that of improvisation and what makes him him, somehow, you know, like just makes him lose his ability to enjoy, to give, or even pause for a moment and, you know, notice this drummer he has a crush on, and how all of these things permeate into different parts of an individual's life. So yeah, and I think like somehow also sensorially, cinematically, I think it was a good metaphor to see like a trumpet penis, because it makes you feel something, you know, like when something is related to your genitals, it makes you feel the emotions, and somehow in cinema, that's the whole challenge of externalizing the character's dilemma onto the screen, into situations. And yeah, I think that was the way out. And yeah, I really like that as well, to show it through these small visual metaphors and something out of the real. Start off in a documentary sort of a way, but then take it into this cacophonous, dreamlike zone. And yeah, this is something I really like to play with also in a film.
However, the ending is pretty almost tragic, almost like in a Greek style, because it's basically he's forced in a certain way to castrate himself, to take over control.
Yeah, I think that is what it is. I feel like the repression of society or of any education also many times is castration in many ways, because it stops you from experimenting, from having your own individual thought. And like it applies to everything in society, whether it is LGBTQ rights, you know, or, you know, rights of any kind. When you are told you're not supposed to have it, and when there are people who are convinced themselves, you know, that they're not meant for certain things because of the way they are, the way they're born, or religion, and so on and so forth. So all of this is castration. And, you know, if you look at it from also certain religious aspects, self-mutilation, castration is a form of, like in India there is transgenders who are born, you know, biologically transgenders. They have to castrate themselves. It's to attain nirvana, to get rid of these sexual desires, to be more at peace. But, you know, it completely denies them of their unique individuality, the way they're born, being the third gender, and all of that is just shunned aside, you know. So yeah, I think it was an apt metaphor of castration in the end, because I do feel that for most people this is what it can lead to. When we don't doubt, when we don't question, when we're not skeptical, when we're not rebellious, when we don't stand up, all of these things in a way does lead to metaphorical castration.
In this sense, we could say that the character of the teacher is like a metaphor of the society.
Yes, and in like particularly it had to be an all-boys school with a boy teacher to make it that way, you know. It is something that is imposed by authorities, and male authorities in this film. And yeah, like he holds the baton, he holds the whip, and the one in power does have, you know, like even if they don't directly castrate you, they put you in a place where you feel like you would rather do it yourself. And yeah, that's not good either.
And about your filmmaking, this is not your first film. And I was wondering if in any way your style maybe changed throughout the years, and how did you grow up in this sense?
Well, I hope I grew, right? And I think for my first film, like with most filmmakers, I was really doubtful and I was really skeptical if the film would get made, if it would get finished. So, like, it was very meticulous, it was planned, and everything was just the way I imagined it, but I did not have space to be present on the set and to accept the things that were there around me. So from that film, then I understood that I want to be more present, like have a structure, have a skeleton, but also because I worked a lot as a first AD, I also understand time and respect time and find a way to improvise in a scheduled manner, improvise in a manner that doesn't, make the producers angry, and at the same time find this sweet spot so that because we're all artists and even with the actors, the cinematographer, they want to be spontaneous on set. There's this feeling of contentment, of creation that happens when you are on set and when you have these moments that was not there in the short list, that was not there in the short division. So my biggest, I think, learning is that to take things that I definitely like. For example, a part of the process that I like to do is always shoot on real locations, use as many real actors as you can, which I think I will carry on because that is something irreplaceable in many ways. When you are in a music school or when you are in the real location, like so many things that are around you, like just trigger these reactions which are normal. But at the same time, like, be open enough to experiment, as I said, on set and make sure that everyone, all the artists that I'm working with and talking to are like in a place where that they feel that they are giving their best and they can do their best.
And are you working at some new projects right now?
Yes, I am.
Tell us more.
Navena, the producer who was there earlier, we've been pitching a short and which is going to be funded soon by the Estonian Film Institute. We are also working on a feature that we're going to pitch in Brussels at the end of this month. And I'm also working on a feature in India, which I'm writing the screenplay and I made a sizzle reel and I can't wait to pitch it. So anyone here, if you're interested in future projects, I'm available and I'll be around. And these are really cool projects that you might want to know more about. Yeah.
And do we have any questions or proposal of collaboration from the audience for now? Maybe later? Okay. Thanks a lot for being here.
Thank
it was
you,
really
Cassandra.
interesting, and good luck for everything and for all your future projects.
Thank you so much.
Buongiorno a tutti, io mi chiamo Cassandra, faccio parte del team organizzativo del 20° Festival Internazionale di Cortometraggi in The Palace. Ho il piacere di presentarvi oggi Alessandro Rocca, che è qui per parlarci del suo film in gara Agosto in pelliccia. Questo film sta prendendo parte alla competizione studentesca e fa parte della categoria fiction. È la storia di due fratelli ambientato a Roma, un rapporto molto particolare, talvolta conflittuale, adesso ne parleremo più nel dettaglio, ma intanto guardiamo il trailer.
Antiro. Ma vado. Fantiro. Lei non me va. Ma come te va? Mamma c'è sta. Nonna non capisce un cazzo, Fantiro, no? Lei non me va. Apri la bocca. Lei non me va. Cazzo te ridi? Pelo rosso. Pelo rosso. Non te la devi chiamare a me così. Niente,
Grazie
Ciao.
mille per essere qui intanto.
Grazie a te.
Allora, per prima cosa vorrei chiederti qualcosa sui tanti parallelismi che ci sono in questo film. Il primo che mi viene in mente è quello con i lupi, che vediamo ad un certo punto in un documentario, quasi a sottolineare un parallelismo tra il personaggio di Leonardo e quello di un maschio dominante che sembra essere ciò a cui lui aspira. Quindi puoi dirci qualcosa di più su questo?
Sì, allora, il mio lavoro sui personaggi, in praticamente tutto quello che faccio, in tutti i miei progetti, è proprio quello di basarli su un parallelismo con l'animale. Infatti, come dici tu, Leonardo è più simile a un lupo, mentre invece Tommaso è più identificabile con una volpe. Questo per caratterizzarli in maniera più forte e per immergerci più in questa storia, diciamo, che ha molto di istintivo, di carnale e di viscerale, diciamo così. E poi mi piace molto, mi diverte diciamo spargere indizi su appunto questo parallelismo appunto con strumenti che possono essere il documentario dei lupi o l'immagine, l'inquadratura finale sulla volpe impagliata, o ancora caratterizzarli fisicamente con per esempio il colore rosso di capelli di Tommaso, o ancora la pelliccia della nonna che è una pelliccia di volpe appunto. Quindi sì.
Per l'appunto riguardo la simbologia della pelliccia, cosa rappresenta per te?
Allora, diciamo che la simbologia che ho cercato di trasmettere riguarda un po' in generale i capelli, pelliccia, pelo, e per me significa innanzitutto, vabbè, mi sono ispirato molto al mito di Sansone, quindi il fatto che venga evirato è un gesto che in qualche modo permette a Leonardo, quindi alla figura dominante in questo gioco di potere, di vincere, tra virgolette, spezzare l'equilibrio a suo favore. E poi partendo da lì, quindi da questa sorta di virazione, il capello, il fatto c'è quasi un feticismo per il capello da parte di Leonardo, mi è piaciuto poi fare un parallelismo con Tommaso e quindi dare anche a Tommaso questa sorta di ossessione per pelo, pelliccia, eccetera, trovandolo appunto nella pelliccia, che è considerato un indumento femminile e che quindi mi ha aiutato anche a entrare nel suo punto di vista e diciamo approfondire la sua parte più femminile con la scena poi del ballo, diciamo così.
Hai detto che appunto c'è anche una forte carnalità in questo film, tant'è che lo vediamo anche nelle scene finali tra i due fratelli. In che modo lo potresti spiegare?
Allora, diciamo che io considero il mondo narrativo di questa storia un po' come una sorta di microcosmo molto tossico e nocivo, no? Nel quale appunto troviamo questa famiglia composta da questi due fratelli e poi la nonna che a un certo punto però lascia la scena. Quello che diciamo il microcosmo poi è costruito su tanti contrasti. È vero che c'è della brutalità e della visceralità, però in contrasto a questo c'è anche della dolcezza, dell'amore. Quindi mi è piaciuto, diciamo, strutturare tutto appunto su tanti contrasti, anche più visivi, cromatici, per quanto riguarda fotografia, scenografia. La brutalità inevitabilmente secondo me viene fuori, cioè nel senso che c'è così tanta tensione, è sviluppato su una tensione sempre più crescente, come una specie di pentola a pressione che prima o poi deve esplodere ed esplode nel peggiore dei modi secondo me, ovvero con questa scena comunque abbastanza violenta, questo scontro fisico e con questo finale dolce amaro, diciamo così.
In un certo senso diciamo che Tommaso trova un po' di pace perché viene privato, diciamo, di quella sua caratteristica che provocava questo tale fastidio nel fratello,
Esatto.
però al tempo stesso appunto ha dovuto rinunciare a una grossa parte di sé.
Sì, e poi comunque anche, cioè, dicevo prima, è un po' un gioco di potere che secondo me nessuno dei due vince, nel senso che lui lo perde, come dici tu, consentendo al fratello di farsi rasare e quindi si perde quella sua caratteristica e lo fa felice, però al tempo stesso l'altro fratello, pur raggiungendo il suo obiettivo, non lo so, secondo me rimane, è così oscuro, ha questo tratto sadico che arriva da qualcosa di malevolo che è radicato in lui e non ti so dire se sia innato o se sia questa repressione che lo fa uscire, però non credo che sarà mai felice.
Invece cosa potresti dire sul personaggio della nonna? Perché sembra essere l'unico personaggio che porta un po' di rassicurazione in questo ambiente nocivo, nonostante non abbia molto controllo di se stessa e entrambi i fratelli in realtà mostrano affetto verso di lei, però da parte di Leonardo c'è appunto una sorta di quasi di menefreghismo, non ha interesse per il suo benessere nonostante sembri che ci tenga a lei.
Sì, diciamo che il personaggio della nonna è un po' l'ago della bilancia, nel senso che è quel personaggio che porta un equilibrio all'interno del conflitto. Infatti tutte le scene con la nonna, cioè prima della sua uscita di scena, hanno sia una tensione che rischia di rompersi o comunque di sfociare verso insomma, una violenza o qualcosa di simile, però appunto grazie a lei questo equilibrio riesce più o meno a mantenersi stabile, perché è considerata un po' come parte del gioco, nel senso che è quella figura un po', è quella valvola di sfogo purtroppo contro la quale i fratelli un po' si sfogano, se la litigano un po', no? C'è anche nella scena della cucina, lì secondo me insomma si evince abbastanza questo, il fatto che Leonardo voglia farla ridere, però in un modo, cioè sempre comunque
Un sadismo di fondo.
esatto, sempre con questo sadismo di fondo che va poi contro il fratello, quindi il fratello subisce ancora. Quindi diciamo che sì, è un po' parte di questo gioco un po' controverso che fanno. Quando la nonna esce di scena, ecco che diventa un vero e proprio conflitto a due e quindi inevitabilmente poi si arriva a una resa dei conti.
C'è anche un accenno di iconografia religiosa con delle madonnine che ogni tanto appaiono e poi verso la fine la vediamo rotta per terra. Cosa puoi dirci su questo?
Allora, diciamo che è un po', innanzitutto è un po' una premessa a quello che sarà il mio prossimo progetto, innanzitutto. E poi sicuramente è una denuncia vera e propria nei confronti della religione cattolica, cioè una situazione che probabilmente è tesa ed è vista come negativa per una serie di presupposti e di opinioni che probabilmente entrambi i fratelli hanno inculcate da una società che purtroppo insomma, inculca questo genere di pensiero, soprattutto dalla parte della religione cattolica. Quindi mi dava soddisfazione spaccare questa cosa, e soprattutto in un momento come quello, dove c'è una vera e propria tensione sessuale, omosessuale nei confronti dei due.
Si ritorna di nuovo sul tema della repressione, quindi di nuovo con il taglio dei capelli, quindi la rinuncia di sé,
esatto.
Che se è qualcosa che diciamo che in Italia la religione cattolica cerca di fare molto spesso.
Esatto, esattamente.
Sì, poi per quanto riguarda invece l'ambientazione, c'è un motivo particolare per cui hai scelto di ambientare questo film a Roma? Tu sei di Milano, giusto?
Sì, io sono di Milano, abito poi in realtà a Ferrara da molti anni. E l'ho ambientato a Roma perché trovavo che non è proprio un dialetto, comunque questo modo di parlare, non mi viene il termine.
Accento?
Sì, questo accento romano desse ai due personaggi quel quid in più, non so, quella sporcatura che cercavo. Nessuna indizione non mi funzionava. Con altri accenti non lo so, non mi funzionava perfettamente, invece quello romano mi dava quella potenza che stavo cercando.
Sì, probabilmente con un accento magari veneto non avrebbe funzionato nello stesso modo.
Esatto.
No. Parlaci invece un po' vi accennato a qualche prossimo progetto, ci sono delle tematiche in particolare che vorresti affrontare? A cosa stai lavorando adesso?
Sì, sto lavorando, adesso ho girato a marzo il secondo cortometraggio, si chiama Sans Dieu, ovvero Senza Dio, ed è una riflessione su religione e omosessualità, quindi è come se avessi preso gli elementi di Agostino Pelliccia e li avessi approfonditi all'interno di questo nuovo progetto, diciamo così.
Invece per quanto riguarda la direzione degli attori in questo film, come l'hai approcciato? Com'è stata la tua esperienza sul set?
Allora, non sembra, ma mi sono trovato molto bene con non sembra perché li vediamo in delle vesti con il personaggio di Leonardo, che è interpretato da Lorenzo Piazzoni. Mi sono trovato davvero molto bene, c'è stata molta empatia e quindi abbiamo lavorato veramente in un flusso dove ci capivamo al volo, dove mi dava più di quello che chiedevo e poi lui è una persona molto dolce, quindi per quello dico è un po' strano poi insomma vederlo così. Mentre invece con Tommaso, ovvero Nicolò Sala, ho avuto, devo essere sincero, non poche difficoltà. Ho trovato molti ostacoli proprio in lui come persona e a posteriori la cosa curiosa che è successa è che molte delle cose che tra virgolette gli ho fatto fare, nel senso che lui come personaggio doveva fare, poi sono state girate contro di me. Per esempio, non lo so, a un certo punto, questo è un po' un gossip, a un certo punto
ci piacciono i gossip.
A un certo punto sento da dietro che mi tirano i capelli, me li tagliano e mi giro e c'era lui con una ciocca dei miei capelli in mano, no? E poi con la cera, eccetera. E al momento ovviamente ero molto, molto innervosito, arrabbiato, però al tempo stesso, per il bene del film, ho detto ok, adesso ci calmiamo, continuiamo la nostra cosa. E poi in realtà lui è stato molto bravo, cioè lui è stato veramente molto bravo, però ho avuto molte difficoltà e a posteriori ho detto ma forse è stato un meccanismo forse di psicologico, di autodifesa, secondo la quale sì, è scattato questa ritorsione, questa cosa un po' strana. Mentre invece con la nonna, beh, lei devo dire molto 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 empatica anche lei, veramente una bellissima persona. Tra l'altro lei parlava nel cortometraggio, aveva delle battute, perché all'inizio la sceneggiatura era più o meno così come l'hai vista. Poi lei è una doppiatrice anche e ha una bellissima voce e quindi mi sono detto, beh, sarebbe interessante farle dire qualcosa e quindi ho aggiunto delle battute per lei. Poi confrontandomi con il mio distributore mi ha detto, guarda, secondo me questo film potrebbe essere più leggero, più corto e più potente senza che la nonna parli. Quindi in montaggio ho provato a toglierle e effettivamente è come se non ci fosse mai stata questa cosa e quindi sono un po' ritornato alla sceneggiatura originale, insomma.
E invece, facendo parte della nuova guardia di giovani registi, c'è qualcosa in particolare che cambieresti del fare cinema in Italia?
Allora, diciamo che non apprezzo sinceramente, come posso dire, stiamo andando in una direzione molto 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 realistica, cioè davvero tanto. E purtroppo è una direzione che non mi appartiene, cioè io credo che poi ovviamente ognuno ha la sua visione, le proprie idee. La mia è quella di raccontare sì delle storie comunque che possono essere personali, intime, che possono essere prese da altri, però visto che abbiamo uno strumento così potente da per certi versi reinventare quasi la realtà o comunque non lo so, esplorare delle tematiche con un punto di vista effettivamente molto diverso da quello che viviamo tuttora, non comprendo appieno il fatto di creare un film o un cortometraggio che sfiora quasi il documentario. È una cosa che purtroppo io non apprezzo molto. Mi piace molto invece avere proprio un punto di vista molto distaccato dalla realtà, però allo stesso tempo che sia a cavallo, quindi un qualcosa di realistico ma al tempo stesso un po' visionario, non so come dire.
Sì, infatti in questo film si vedevano molto bene entrambi gli aspetti, perché comunque era molto grezzo, sì, anche come hai detto tu, anche a livello di linguaggio comunque si sentiva molto questa sporcatura, ma al tempo stesso però sembrava essere da un altro mondo, era molto etereo in un certo
Esatto,
senso.
Sì.
Abbiamo domande dal pubblico, magari dalla parte italiana? Domande? No? Ok. Grazie mille per
Grazie a
essere
te.
stato qui e buona fortuna per tutti i tuoi prossimi progetti.
Grazie mille.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Andrea from the In the Palace International Short Film Festival, and we'll continue this Q&A session with. Can you please tell us what?
Daniele Morelli. I'm Daniele Morelli. I'm the director and co-writer of The Connection.
I'm Edoardo Carboni, a story and co-writer of the L'Allaccio, The Connection.
Let's see the trailer, and then we'll ask you some questions.
È lei per l'allaccio?
Da questa parte. L'allaccio va qua.
Qua. Troppo gentile, dottore.
Roberto va bene.
Francesco.
Ti sarà sembrato tutto un po' strano, eh? Un telefono qui al Camposanto.
So, my first question is, why Rome? Why 1946? Why so? Why this year? Why this?
This story is set in this particular moment of Rome because it's a story inspired by true events. We have pictured a Rome that have fought the war, the bombardamenti.
The bomb of Rome in 1943
in San Lorenzo. And after these events, the Italian director Roberto Rossellini have to work on a new movie, a movie called Germany Year Zero, and we have made this movie to talk about his story during the pre-production of this film, and it was a particular moment for him because he had to deal with a terrible loss of his son, and he worked in the graveyard of Verano, and he didn't want to leave his son, who's here, and to work with Germany. He asked a telephone in the graveyard, and it's a strange thing in that time.
In general, a telephone in the cemetery.
Yeah.
Strange.
I agree.
But it was his way to deal with a death. It's a story about how
deal with his loss.
Yes.
Okay, what is the telephone in the cemetery metaphor of?
Telephone?
La metafora del telefono.
Yes. So we thought to tell this story not with the eyes of Roberto Rossellini, but with the eyes of the man, in this case the guy, who was called to make this
Francesco.
Francesco, yes, to make this telephone, and because as Daniele said, the story is based on true events. So a telephone there is still, or a certain way, in the Verano Cemetery in Rome, but so that is the true part. But no one knows the relation between who made the telephone and the great director. So we decided to tell the story with the eyes of the guy, of Francesco. And Francesco came from a terrible family story concerning the war, the loss of his mother during the bomb, but also with a relationship with a father that there is not so much present, and
The
it's
absent
not.
type.
Yes, it's absent. Absent, above all, in the moments of the loss of the mother. So, this is something that he cannot forgive. Francesco cannot forgive this. But the telephone, it's a cross of two stories. Roberto Rossellini that cannot speak anymore with his son, and maybe wants to tell him a lot of things, things that he cannot or couldn't do it before. Francesco can speak with the father because he's still alive, but he doesn't want to do it. So the telephone is the instrument to two-person to speak with someone that there is no more, but with the telephone can do something for him, Roberto Rossellini. Francesco, with the telephone, can connect again with his father, as in the last scene of the movie.
It's about the power and the importance of communication.
Yes.
The telephone is a way to connect each other and go on and fight the problems, the difficulties of life together. And
yes, this is the telephone.
But yeah, the role of the past and the present in this movie is so heavy. And maybe I'd like to ask you. You say that the telephone can begin the communication again, but with Francesco's story, with his absent father, and maybe yes, in the end he calls him. But do people always deserve second chance?
Okay, for me, yes. I think it's good to give to anyone a second chance. And I think, in fact, Francesco met with his father after many times, maybe because he, thanks to Roberto Rossellini, thanks to another man, he understands something. Because, as Edoardo said, Roberto couldn't talk anymore with his son, and Francesco realized that maybe he can forgive because he had a father now, and maybe
there is I think we think that there is a conflict or a relationship better between the necessity of atonement from Roberto Rossellini and the possibility of forgiveness from Francesco. So, atonement from the adult people that made a war, other problems, death, and the young people like Francesco, that is the future, that has to decide with that telephone. There's a moment that can decide, I call or not, so I forgive or not forgive, go on or not. And I think that we think that also this is a metaphor of also our presence. Our adults may, as all adults, sometimes a lot of problems, and the sons, the young people, has to decide forgive or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because Roberto Rossellini, our Roberto Rossellini, wants a forgive. Maybe he too.
Yeah, because during the research we found that Roberto Rossellini wasn't a present father for his children, and I think he was a man with a lot of regrets for his way to be a father. I
Yes,
think.
after in the years later, he beloved so much their children, their sons and daughters, of course. Maybe there was terrible times in the 1946, 1945, at the end of the war. So Romano Rossellini, the son of Roberto, there in Spain, so far, and
Roberto wasn't there.
Wasn't there
when his child died.
So it's.
So we talked so much about the movie, or so much about the main topics and the characters, but how did you decide to film it?
Okay. I read a few years ago a first draft of the script written by Edoardo, and I think it was a very beautiful idea to talk about family, life and death, father and son, in a particular way, and also I think it was interesting to tell a story that isn't a true biopic, because for me it's not the classic biopic one, but it's a story about a father who deals with the pain of the death of his child. And it was a very nice production. I work with two good Italian actors. One of them is Francesco Acquaroli, who has worked in many Netflix series, very popular in Italy, and it was very, very important for me also work in a big set. We spend a lot of days in Verano, who is a place outside the time, is always the same since 1990. I don't know when the Verano is founded, but I think he has a lot of years.
Yes.
And no, it was a pleasure to work with these guys.
Yes, no, it's for me it was of course a very great pleasure, and I think that the strength of this short movie is also the comprehension of the director like Daniele, that understand the story and the importance to tell the story with the everything that concerns the emotion of the characters or the scenes and the story, and stay with that emotions of the that came from great actors, and of course for how concerning me to stay together in the creation, the new creation, and of the draft of the passage of the stories, of the passages of the story. So I think that it's also agrees the story of friendship. I mean, read and also to watch Daniele direct the movie. So I found the first time the story particular way because someone told me that there is this still today this little column where in that year was the telephone. And I went to the Verano Cemetery, the cemetery of Rome, to look for this telephone. And it was funny because the people that work still today in the cemetery, when you ask information or say, yes, go where there is the phone, but the phone there is anymore. But it's something like similar, no? Go where is the phone. And at 5 meters, 10 meters from the Rossellini's grave, there is still this skull with something that is written in remember of the fact. But from that little thing, I thought about the this meeting between two different people, very different age, background, and knowledge. But the creator literation for one day concerning this this poem. So it's as we told in the last part of the movie. This is inspired by true events. So it is like a fable. It's like a fairy tale because it's true, but in our view. So it's the first one because we are also other projects that follow this way. True events, but with
transfiguration.
Transfiguration, yes, something that can be can be told in other way, but with the not leaving the true events, not leaving any totally the true events, but also to understand other point of view of the same story.
And maybe to finish, what would you say is the main message? To forgive people, to connect. What would you say?
Forgive.
To forgive.
Yes.
For me, to forgive.
We have to forgive. It's difficult, very, sometimes, but
we have to try.
Let's try. Maybe we hope that can be found a forgiveness at the end.
Yes.
Where do we find forgiveness? In ourselves? In others? Where?
Good question.
Good question.
In ourselves.
Yes. In ourselves, but it's important also to listen the forgiveness from other people that we think that or tell us that tell from us give the forgiveness because the other people can be remaining in a sort of limbo if we don't give the forgiveness.
It's a process. It's a process with others.
Yes.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you too.
It was a pleasure really to be here.
Also,
thank you.
Also for us.
Thank you.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
We'll continue this Q&A session with 2 more films. Can you please present yourselves?
Yes, so I'm the director of Separation, French director, and my movie is here in the Palace Film Festival.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you here. I'm very
Pleasure.
happy to be here with you, and I congratulate you 20 years anniversary of your festival. My name is Branko Popchevski. I'm coming from Macedonia, director of short fiction If There Was No Sky.
So, I wanted to ask you about your character and If There Was No Sky. It's the end of the world.
Some kind of, yes.
Some kind of the end of the world. Can you describe your character? How does he cope with the emptiness of the world?
Character is some person, and it can be any person who is in situation to survive. So generally story is about surviving, but usually we think when somebody needs to survive what he will eat, what he will drink. But in this movie it is added in story about surviving, how we as a human being can survive alone, because we are social human beings. And yes, in the movie Parallel is going story about inner surviving. Okay, character is trying to save his body by eating anything what he find, bugs, and drink some muddy water. But what about inner life? So he's thinking about some beautiful place in some green field, and of course some beautiful girl is waiting for him, and it is what is giving him hope that someday he will get to that place. And of course, on the end of the movie, he is not finding girl, he is finding one tree who is calling of nature. That where is tree? It was green grass, and it was birds singing on that tree. So here is life. Where is nature?
Would you say he finds happiness?
On the end of the movie, I think he was only happy to find something what he can support, hang on, you know. And I don't know about his happiness. If he's be alone, continue be alone in that desert.
So do you think, because you said human beings are social creatures, can we survive alone?
Alone?
Alone, yeah. Without anyone else. Can we survive?
It is a difficult topic because it is said that only God can be alone. And it is not said just without reason. I think in general, human being need human being in every aspect of that, not only in biological and but emotionally, psychically, yes, we need somebody in our lives. So if somebody can survive, it is very difficult, I think.
And what would you say if we say it's some type of the end of the world? Do you represent the future? Is this our future? Is this the future of the earth?
Message of the movie is that our future is connected to keep nature alive. At least we don't destroy nature.
Yeah.
Because it is a biological base of our human mankind, you know. So it was point of the message. Yes, we can survive as a human beings, but not survive without nature. And if we continue destroying this nature, we will find ourselves in desert like character in movie.
So the bond, the relationship between human and nature, it's the strongest. Do you agree?
I would say yes.
You would say yes. And what about so people are in group, they are human beings that are social, but at the same time, they have a separate relationship with nature individually. Is that right?
I think we are all witnesses that as a group of people is bigger, destruction is bigger.
Okay.
It is my impression of contemporary life now. So everything is going to be more developed, but we don't see the price what we are paying of that development. And I think price is more and more destruction of nature.
So you said you have 20 years of experience in filmmaking. You have many awards, many films, music videos, different projects. What more do you want to achieve in the field of filmmaking?
If There Was No Sky is my third short fiction movie. Before that I made more than 10 documentaries. And short movies especially had for me very good success on festivals. It was many awards. And it gave me more support to continue in filmmaking. Probably, I hope soon it will be feature movies.
This is your plan?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you for your answers, and we can continue with the separation. Let's watch the trailer first. So actually this movie hasn't been screened yet. It's going to be screened today at 7 p.m. So can you please tell me more about the film, so there is some context we can work with?
Yeah, Separation is a movie about memories, I would say. The memory of a cosmonaut who relives a childhood event and who tries to, I would say, like understand what that event meant for him as a child, but also as an adult. And also, I would say my movie is about the very specific bond between a mother and her son, and the complex emotions they have in common. Yeah, I think.
But as a there were a lot of shifting scenes in the movie. Why have you decided to do that?
So the movie is constructed like a memory. It's about a cosmonaut who, while he's performing a spacewalk, floating above Earth, he's going to relive a childhood memory, but through two point of views. One, him as a child, so he relives his own childhood memory, and the second point of view will be his mother's point of view about his childhood memory. So what's interesting is that for the first time, as he's floating above Earth as an adult, he is able to experience the combination of those two point of views of this same childhood memory. And this very specific feeling is called the overview effect, and it's something that my movie talks about, the overview effect. Maybe I can explain.
Yes, tell me more about it.
So the overview effect is the idea that everything, like us talking, depends on where we are. Like our understanding of the world depends on physically where we are. Like for example, us talking here in this place doesn't mean the same thing as us talking in another place, or us talking in space, or us talking underground. Our physical surrounding impacts how we perceive the world. So actually this overview effect has been like theorized through cosmonauts. When cosmonauts see Earth for the first time from above, their whole experience shifts. They for the first time understand what it means to be alive and what deep connection we have through our memories, but also through Earth. It's a complete shift of personality. And what's interesting is that when the cosmonauts experience the overview effect, the emotion is like so intense that they cry and they can't like contain this emotion. So it's very interesting, scientific, almost like experience that really interested me in the construction of the movie. So in my movie, basically, it's about a cosmonaut who, while he's floating above Earth, is going not only to revisit what he sees, but who he is. And who he is his memories and all that goes with it.
So this is, with this effect, you found your inspiration?
I would say that my inspiration came through this effect, this idea. To be honest, the first image I had and that like brainstormed and that created the movie was that of a cosmonaut who floats above Earth and who thinks about something very personal, very intimate. And who, I'm really interested about epiphanies, awakenings, you know? Like sometimes when you walk and you understand something about who you are as a person, I love that. It's really...
It just clicks in your mind, maybe years from the moment that happened.
Yeah, I love those mechanisms because I think we all, every year maybe, every 10 years, we have these kind of epiphanies, and in terms of psychology, they mean something. You can analyze why you have this epiphany at that specific time. Why does the cosmonaut, while he's floating above Earth, suddenly reminds himself about his childhood? What does it mean? Maybe the fact that he has like this umbilical cord in space so that he can have oxygen reminds him of his mother, who actually gave him birth. So all these visual and poetical elements really interest me because once again I love like the echoes it creates and why we feel the way we feel.
So you're interested in psychology, but
I think every filmmaker in a way is interested in psychology because it dictates every like human interaction, and even further, psychology is the basis of like the life experience. So I'm very interested in that, and I feel like movies are a very visual and maybe more authentic way to portray psychology. Like, for example, I would never write this movie. I couldn't write this movie. For me, it was really the medium of cinema that was perfect to explore this idea.
And how did the relationship mother-son came?
I think, as I told you, it was a very visual element. To be more specific, the overview effect, the first time a cosmonaut experienced an overview effect, he is called Alexei Leonov, so it's a historical notion. He was floating above Earth and he had this cable that connected him to the spaceship so that he could have oxygen to breathe.
Yeah.
So I think that while I was searching about the overview effect, I saw this cable and it clicked for me. And I suddenly realized that there were so many interconnections about human Earth, human mother life and links, and I think like it came from a visual element.
Maybe a different question, but it's set in the 60s, right? Your movie in Kiev.
Yeah.
Why? You're a French filmmaker.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think like the U.S. spatial conquest is over portrayed in movies, And actually, as I told you, the overview effect, the first person who actually experienced the overview effect was a Russian cosmonaut, Alexei Leonov, so Soviet space conquest. And I wanted to be quite true to history, because I felt like it was my duty to in a way do in French we have this expression, a clin d'œil, to do like a blink, like to make a connection with history, even though my movie is not a historical movie. But I really like to have a start point that starts from history and that maybe goes somewhere else.
Maybe for next projects too?
Yeah, actually I have I directed 2 other short films because Separation I directed in 2021, so it's been a nice 2 years, and it's interesting to talk with you because I realized that the 2 other projects I directed have a historical start point and go somewhere else, so it's interesting. I think history, the way history echoes with us, the way the past echoes with the present, everything is linked actually. My whole movie is linked. The past, the memories echo with the present, the epiphanies. I think I have some sort of obsession about past and present and what it means.
But you can explore the subject furthermore in more movies, right?
Exactly. I have another movie that's called Incarnatio. That's actually a movie about faith, but also about the relationship you have towards your faith. Years believing, and what do you make of it? What does years believing in something make you as a human being? Literally, what effect does it have on your everyday life? So this is the second movie I directed, and the third movie I directed is a docu-fiction kind of movie, and it talks about prison, French prison in the 1920s in Guyane. Yeah, so it's a different kind of project, but also interconnected with history, past and
present.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe last question, but you said about this effect, you told us so much about it. Would you say that not only our physical presence and where is it on Earth has a different result maybe, but also the screenings at different places of your film?
It's very interesting what you say. Changing the physical point where you see a movie actually impacts your experience. The overview effect is actually a metaphor for life and cinema, I think, and it's literally that, yeah. The audience that are going to watch the movie, I think, tonight will not have the same impression as maybe a French audience or an American audience, and that's what I love about cinema, is that not only the people who make cinema can be diverse, but also the experience you have is diverse. I really like diversity as a global experience.
And what would you say, because we talked so much about past, link with present, would you say people need to be connected to their past?
I think that it's not about needing, it's just a fact. I think you are what your past is. We are the addition of every action we made, and sometimes people actually lie to themselves. My past is not this, my past is not this, this is my past. But we are who we are, and we are once again the addition of what we made. So I think we interact, our past defines us. And it's not about choice. I mean, our past defines us, and we must understand how it defines us, and in what ways do we want in the future our past not to define us. So it's very interesting. Once again, past and present and future, all these bubbles that interact and create us.
Yeah, beautifully said. And let's end on this beautiful note. If anyone has any questions, they're welcome, of course. For both, and if not, thank you so much for this beautiful interview. It was a pleasure.
Thanks.